अवसर थिला टाटा स्टील रो ओडिशा उत्सव अतिथि भाव जोग देइथिले मुख्यमंत्री नवीन पट्टनायक आउ एही लिटरेचर मीट्रे नवीन को साक्षात्कार नैथिले देशर चर्चित टेलीविजन सांबादिक राजदीप सरदेसाई। तेबे जातीय अंतर्जातीय स्तर चर्चित व्यक्ति को निज प्रश्न बाण घाइला करुवा राजदीप को पाई नवीन को ठारू कथा आदाय करने मुस्किल हो पड़ा। साक्षात्कार पर एक कथा को से निजे स्वीकार भी करथिले। देखंतु केमिति थिला सेही साक्षात्कार।
I don't know whether Biju Babu wrote a book. There's a biography of his that has come out, and your sister, of course, has written much more prolifically. Your brother-in-law is a publisher, so you come from an environment where there are lots of men and women of letters in and around you. Was that something as a young boy when you were growing up that was part of the family, reading books?
Yeah, we've all, especially my father, he was an avid reader of books, and all of us did read a great deal, and some of us took to writing, like my sister and myself.
Do you miss that life? I think I've asked you this once before. That you're a unique gentleman and a role model in a sense for those who actually want to lead two separate lives. There was a life that you led at one stage which had this lovely world of books and the other things that you did, and you now lead the life of a politician. Which was, if you were to really go back in time, which is the life you prefer and which is the real Naveen Babu? The Naveen Babu who was a man of letters who used to write books, or the one who has to go to office surrounded by files day after day, Monday to Friday, go back home? Which is the real Naveen Babu?
I think the world of politics and governance is more important because you can do a great deal of good for the people through that.
So you enjoy the second life more than the first?
I think it's certainly more interesting, yes.
You seem to be almost suggesting that writing books doesn't transform lives as much as politics does, but an Odisha literature festival.
Yes.
Do you believe that a city like Bhubaneswar deserves a festival where lots of young people can come, talk about books, share ideas? Do you believe there's a need for more of that in a state like this?
Yes, indeed, because we have a great many writers, poets, etc.
I'm not going to ask you the question, of course, about your favorite Odia writers. Did you have a favorite Odia writer?
Well, Fakir Mohan Senapati is a great classical writer, yes.
And there is a great tradition, isn't there, in this state, of writing, as you said.
Of writing and culture, certainly.
So, what are you going to tell Tata Steel? Would you like Tata Steel to make sure that, if the Chief Minister tells Tata Steel to ensure that they sponsor the Literature Festival for the next 10 years, then Tata Steel will find it impossible not to. If I were to tell them as a humble little writer or journalist, there's every chance that next year they won't do it. So what would you tell sponsors like Tata Steel who may sponsor other things other than books? Is it time for them to commit themselves today to 10 years of sponsoring an Odisha Lit Fest?
Well, I certainly hope they will be able to support a literary festival, as you said, for at least 10 years here in Odisha.
Let me then ask the managing director, sir, the Chief Minister is saying that you can't make this a one-off, you've got to do it for 10 years. We can't. Okay, so you've got a commitment, 10 years, and somewhere in those 10 years you will also write this book that you're promising to. Is it going to be a biography? Lots of politicians nowadays write these tell-all biographies. All the things that are done behind closed doors are suddenly revealed in books. Is that usually done after you lose an election?
I have no idea about that, but I certainly shan't write an autobiography.
You don't want to write an autobiography? You don't want to tell us all the things about Naveen Patnaik that none of us know about?
I don't think it's that important to really put down in print.
Is it not that important, not that interesting as some might think it might be?
Probably not as interesting either.
Okay, let me conclude. You see, it's very difficult to interview Naveen Babu because he keeps his answers very short. You're just the opposite of Arvind Kejriwal, who keeps his answers very long. But I just want to understand at the end of the day, do you believe that our politicians in general need to read a little bit more. You have Jairam Ramesh here, who's already in the last, I mean, ever since the Congress lost the elections in 2014, all he's been doing is writing books. 4 books in 2 years. He's obviously got a lot of time now that he's no longer a minister. But I've often wondered, do you think our netas need to read more, need to write more? There was a generation, your father's generation, where netas wrote a lot. Many of them were journalists, many of them were writers. Do you think that today's netas need to also be a little bit more literate?
I certainly think they should read a great deal more because they gain a lot of knowledge from there.
Mr. Naveen Patnaik, as always, precise, short, ensures that no answer is met with a counter question. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Minister of Odisha has promised to ensure that Tata Steel, or Tata Steel has promised that they will continue to sponsor this for 10 years. And the Chief Minister has assured us that in these 10 years, at some stage, he will come up with his 4th book. Many, many congratulations to Tata Steel for sponsoring this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajdeep.